Hi, my name is ColdBeer, and let's start with Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. Here you are, a supernatural assassin with one important mission. You have to kill a godlike figure called the Outsider. As you can imagine, killing someone who is actually godlike is not an easy job even for a supernatural assassin. You'll have to journey deep into the underbelly of the city, where you will unravel some of the lost secrets. Along the way you will infiltrate underground fight clubs and black magic cults, and then retrieve... Yeah, the rest of the game's description is plain spoilers on Steam, avoid reading it. Anyway, as you hunt down the Outsider, you will face off against a new cast of enemies along the way. Armed with your weapons, gadgets and abilities, you will have to take down deadly foes by accepting contracts to find and eliminate optional targets throughout your mission. So you are an actual hitman here, well, hitwoman more accurately, and the game has a very positive review score on Steam, so it's obviously not a bad game. Also keep in mind that this week on Humble Bundle you can also get tons of awesome discounted Steam games. All keys are official and legit. This week I would recommend getting Inscription, Hard West 2, Other Side, Total War 3 Kingdoms, Sea Salt, and many others. You can find my affiliate link to all these awesome games in the description below and also in the first pinned comment. BIOMUTANT. This is a game for a younger audience, and honestly I don't know if this discount is good enough for you to buy it. You know, for your nephew for example. I bought it on release date for the full price, because I was kinda assured by their advertising that this is a game for all ages and, you know, I felt for it. So I just checked. I have 2.8 hours of game time. Yeah, for 60 euros that was a very expensive deal for me. I paid more than 20 euros for an hour. I'm not a very smart person, but nevertheless, if I was 12 years old and I could get this game for, let's say, 20 euros, that would be a way better deal. So BIOMUTANT is an open-world post-apocalyptic kung fu style RPG. It has a unique martial arts style combat system allowing you to mix melee, shooting and mutant ability action. And you are some kind of raccoon here and you have to save the world. The best thing for me here was an off-screen narrator who was often making jokes, and some of these jokes were really funny. I would give this game like 6 beers out of 10. It's not bad, but it's definitely not for grumpy adults like me. IXION. Propelled onwards through a perilous journey, you are the administrator of the mighty space station, charged with finding a new home for humanity. Keeping the station sound and flying will require a firm hand and strategic thinking. You are constantly pulled between maintaining hull integrity, bringing in new resources and managing power consumption. What choices will you make when confronted with impending disaster? What will you discover out there in the dark? Probably nothing good. We all know that Borg is somewhere out there. Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. This is an adventure with unique gameplay that blends investigation, action and exploration. It will test the limits of your nerves and intelligence. Yeah, this game is not for the faint of heart. The puzzles can be devilishly difficult, and the plot is full of twists and turns that will keep you guessing until the very end. You'll have to track down evil in the darkest corners of London while playing as the great detective and untangle a web of intrigue leading to the final stunning revelation about the evil that lurks in the city. Is it real evil or is it just Scooby-Doo level evil? I don't know. Well, I do, but this is not a channel of spoilers. This is a channel of games and potato salad approved by your sister. Lords and Villains. Here you'll grow dynasties of medieval families and see them evolve and interact as you build their homes, farms and workshops and assign them different tasks, duties and taxes. The game is a very light-hearted yet complex city-building strategy simulation of medieval society where you shape the dynasty of the ruling family. Here you don't manage the daily life of every villager, instead you deal with whole families and their descendants. The game is not perfect, but it has around 80% of positive review score, although people on Steam are complaining about the 5-hour-long tutorial. But if you have patience, then the game starts to shine. Each campaign mission throws more and more in your face. For example, you won't see a thermometer until the 5th mission. The moral of that? If you don't know about cold or heat, it doesn't exist. Grounded. One of the smallest open-world games. You can only freely move around in your yard of several square meters. The trick is that the game follows the best traditions of famous movie
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And here you are literally shrunk to the size of an ant. So actually this world is vast, beautiful and dangerous place. You know, almost every predator is bigger than you. Probably a dog peeing on some flower can literally drown you in a way that you wouldn't want to be carved on your tombstone. So here we'll explore, build and survive together in this first-person first-person multiplayer survival adventure. So can you thrive alongside the hordes of giant insects fighting to survive the perils of the backyard? Well, alone probably not, but if you have some friends or a loving mother-in-law, you can play the game together and have lots of fun. The rating on Steam hovers around 90%, and that is always a sign of a good game. Gamedec Definitive Edition. This is a single-player, non-combat cyberpunk RPG. You are a game detective who solves crimes inside virtual worlds by using your wits to gather information from your witnesses and suspects. Also get to the bottom of deceptive schemes, save lives and investigate the relationships between virtual worlds and their inhabitants. The game continually adapts to your choices and never judges, just like your dog does. Also, it sounds a bit like Disco Elysium, and that's a great thing. Although keep in mind that here you will not find any battles and no fighting is available. Pick it up only if you like to read and carefully analyze sentences in dialogues. Riftbreaker. Here you are, the Riftbreaker, an elite scientist commando inside a powerful mecha suit.
Ooh la la!
You have entered a one-way portal to a distant planet at the far reaches of the Milky Way. You have a purpose of building up a base that will allow travels back to Earth and continue colonization. So you are tasked to construct a two-way rift back to Earth, because living on a planet without cold, refreshing beer or potato salad is painful, and that shouldn't even be a legal thing. Although you encounter a bit of a bigger problem than the absence of beer, which is monsters, thousands of them. The game itself is a hybrid between StarCraft, Diablo and Satisfactory, a really great and entertaining game. Deathloop. It is a first-person shooter where two rival assassins are trapped in a mysterious time loop on a remote island, doomed to repeat the same day for eternity. Your only chance for escape is to end the cycle by assassinating 8 main targets before the day resets. Every new loop is your opportunity to change everything. You will use the knowledge you gain from each attempt to change your playstyle, so it is fair to say that it is a roguelite game and may not be appealing to everyone. Here you can choose to stealthily sneak through levels or jump into the fight. You know, guns blazing, shouting war cries and profanities. In each loop you'll discover new secrets, gather intel on your targets as well as on the island, and expand your arsenal. You will be armed with a host of otherworldly abilities and incredible weaponry. Although I must warn you that the game's biggest strength is also its biggest weakness. People on Steam are saying that the game is repetitive.
Yeah, who could have thought?
Satisfactory. This game is basically a 3D Factorio, but Factorio is being cocky about it and is never discounted, so let's talk about Satisfactory instead. Here you will defeat nature by building massive factories everywhere, expand wherever and however you want, without any annoying regulations we have here on Earth, because you are not on Earth anymore. All those animals and plants that live here are scientifically unimportant. They live to serve you and your factory. Here you'll find about 30 square kilometers, which is about 11 square miles of terrain filled with unique flora and fauna. You can recycle everything and make factories out of them. Build beautiful metal constructions instead of ugly nature. Cover the whole surface of the planet with your elegant conveyor belts and train tracks. Make that pathetic natural habitat disappear and make beauty instead. Be a true hero of the industrial era. Braid. The game has a really cool story that has you playing as a scientist exploring a place infested by an alien life form. Yeah, I bet you heard that somewhere. A few dozen, 100 million times. Despite that, aliens are really nice here. Well, by saying nice, I mean that they are the opposite of nice. You wouldn't want to chat with them about video games or best beer kinds in the universe or, you know, the best recipe for potato salad. No, they are terrifying creatures. Although, as I always say, not as terrifying as people who put pineapple in potato salad. Those are the worst. Just imagine this space station filled with them. Prey is a thriller, but that tiny change would make it one of the scariest horror games ever. So anyway, Prey gives you a variety of weapons to use along with superpowers like telepathy or the ability to trick enemies by turning yourself into everyday items. Yeah, it may sound like nonsense, but it's not. You can truly acquire alien abilities and use them by stopping time or turning yourself into a bottle of beer, and then you can roll around like crazy. Not suspicious at all. Well, this ability of turning yourself into a stuff could probably spice up the love life of you and your wife or imaginary girlfriend. I don't judge. But first you have to defeat the space evil and escape from the space station alive, and with all the parts intact needed for, you know, spiciness. A story about my uncle. This is a first-person platforming adventure game about a boy who searches for his lost uncle and ends up in a world he couldn't imagine existed. You'll use your uncle's mysterious inventions that let you jump incredibly high, uncover clues about your uncle's whereabouts, and meet fantastical creatures that will help you on your journey. Also, you may get motion sick and vomit on your keyboard. Or not, but I would. Trailer was enough for me to start feeling sick. Anyway, if that is not a problem for you, keep in mind that above 90% of reviews are positive, so this is definitely a good game and the price is very nice. Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened. If you like Sherlock Holmes and Lovecraftian stuff, this may be your spoon of potato salad. You become Sherlock Holmes and find yourself at the heart of terrifying Cthulhu mythos as you investigate a series of mysterious disappearances in Europe and the United States. Those are apparently linked to a dark cult that worships an ancient god. Whatever their plan is, you must put a stop to it, or, face unspeakable consequences. Yeah, all that sounds nice, but can I join the cult? Can I worship the ancient god as well? What if Sherlock decided that his life of investigations is boring and being a servant for a Dagon himself is a more fulfilling experience? I doubt that, but it would be nice if you could actually choose the unexpected way. Dishonored 1 and 2. In these now classic games, you are playing as an assassin who is given supernatural abilities by a mysterious entity. Dishonored is a stealth game, although you can play it as a brute force lover as well. You just have to be way better with controls, because fighting multiple enemies is a real challenge here, and only the best of us can dance around the danger like that. The real fun of Dishonored comes in combining all your powers with your weapons and finding your own way through a semi-open world environments. You probably already know the fact, but interesting thing is that the genre of Dishonored is whalepunk, a subgenre of steampunk where most of the energy is gathered from the hunted whales and their fat. Not a safe place for your mama. Iron Harvest. The game is set in an alternative timeline of the First World War. The main thing that distinguishes our world from Iron Harvest is the giant steam-powered robots, main weapons of the war. You'll find a huge variety of them, and I'll be honest, they look very detailed. All the design features are absolutely 10 cold beers out of 10, although the gameplay itself is... it's a decent strategy game, but if you are a fan of StarCraft or Command & Conquer, Iron Harvest is not for you. Avoid at all cost. Like, literally, do not take it even if it's free, even if they pay you. But if you are just a casual player, then yeah, try it out. Keep in mind, your grandma as well could play this game, even if she's dead. Mine is dead and she plays this game all the time with my other dead grandma, and even they want a faster game. So Iron Harvest is that slow, I'm not kidding. Although that doesn't mean that Iron Harvest is easy. It's slow, but it's hard. It will challenge you and your grandma. You can play online in co-op mode together, by the way. The most annoying thing is that robots have reaction delays. You click on some spot and then you watch how your mech still goes to the previous direction for 1 second or so, then stops, then slowly starts turning and moving where you want it to go. The developers say that they did it because of physics and realism, but what it actually does, it infuriates you and you just want to quit the game. Braid. I always say that this is a game perfectly suitable for beer-loving people. When you are drunk, you make a lot of mistakes. For example, you want to send your ding-dong pic to your ex-girlfriend, but accidentally send it to your aunt. And that's not the worst that could happen while you're drunk. Worst thing is when your aunt sends you something similar back. So this game is perfect for those who make a lot of drunken mistakes. You can turn back time and start your moves over and over again. Undo all the bad things you have done. Although you cannot ever unsee that picture your aunt Olga sent you, this game will teach you the wrong concept of life, that everything you do is easily undoable. The Witness. I hate this game. The Witness is for smart people with great memory, and I'm none of these people. And although I like puzzles and all that, but by playing Witness I realized that I'm way dumber than I imagined. So if you like to test your memory and IQ, this is a great title for you. Just keep in mind that the results can be a bit disappointing. The game itself is set in a beautiful open-world island where you have to crack all the riddles to unveil a terrible secret. If you are not some puzzle maniac, you will never get there, but at least the game will show you your limits. Sherlock Holmes: Crimes and Punishments. Here as Sherlock Holmes, you will have to solve 6 thrilling and varied cases. Murders, missing persons, pineapples in the potato salad, spectacular thefts, and numerous investigations that sometimes lead you into the realms beyond our reality. The freedom of choice allows you to conduct your investigations in the manner you deem appropriate. You will use the 14 extraordinary skills of detection, interrogate your suspects, and from your deductions name the guilty parties. You can even determine their fate. The ramifications are far-reaching, and your decisions will exert a real influence through your reputation. Also, there will be consequences, and we all know that the game will try to bamboozle your mind so you would name the wrong person as a guilty one. So be careful, don't let the game fool you. Blasphemous. This game is a true work of art. I don't think that any of you will argue with me about that. Art-wise, this is one of the best examples of Metroidvania and Souls genre collision. Interesting thing is that the major influence of Blasphemous' story and design was the religious art of the city of Seville in Spain, and also works of famous Spanish painters, especially Francisco Goya and his 200-year-old painting called A Procession of Flagellants, or Flagellants, I have no idea how to say it. If you want some nightmares before bed, just Google Goya's paintings. They are as great as they are creepy. People on Steam are saying that the game has incredible dynamic music and amazing voice acting. Also, some dudes are seriously stating that Blasphemous was a gateway drug to a 2D indie platformer games from AAA Souls-likes, so it can really expand your horizons, but mostly here you will just die and die again. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check Humble Bundle sale as well. Have a nice day and I'll see you next time, bye!